Welcome back to Thone's Nibbles, number 30. Big 30. And this is on Mark chapter 2. And the title is The Sabbath is for Man. And it comes from Mark chapter 2, verses 23 through 28. Now it happened that he went through the grain fields on the Sabbath. And as they went, his disciples began to pluck the heads of grain. And the Pharisees said to him, "Look, why do they do what is not lawful on the Sabbath?" But he said to them, "Have you never read what David did when he was in need and hungry, he and those with him? How he went into the house of God in the days of Abiathar, the high priest, and ate the showbread, which is not lawful to eat except for the priests, and also gave some to those who were with him. And he said to them, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Therefore the Son of Man is also Lord of the Sabbath." Important point. And I just call this sort of, the subject is plucking corn on the Sabbath day. In the King James Version it says corn in particular. In the New King James, which I just read, it said grain, which could have been wheat, could have been barley. But at any rate, they plucked. So plucking on the Sabbath day. So why is this in the Bible? It's to teach that the Sabbath day was there to benefit man, not to further burden him. And that's the thing that the Pharisees really missed, is that the reason that God proclaimed them not to do major activities on the Sabbath day was to give them a day off, to give them a vacation day, so to speak. And it had nothing to do with a higher spiritual definition. The only spiritual part about it was, since God said to do it always, then they should do it always. But the laws that they had developed to go with this were actually laws that were, how can I say this, put a lot more burden on the men on the other days of the week or whatever, rather than to be a gift of rest to them. This is written to who? Well, it was written to the Pharisees, who were the people complaining, and it was written to the disciples, who were the people who were being complained to. What was the communication here? My own feeling is that the communication is primarily more rules are not the answer. Rather, the kind, merciful obedience to God's laws is the answer. Love thy neighbor. If thy neighbor is suffering on the Sabbath day, then it is not breaking the Sabbath to go and help them. If you have just returned from a long journey on the Sabbath day, it is okay to consume food, and so on. Application to my life. Love and understanding are more important than any societal norm. Understanding attitude rather than judgmental attacks. We need to understand the love and mercy of God that's behind the concept of the Sabbath day and obey that rather than to obey a gigantic set of rules which the Pharisees had set up. They had it down to the inch practically how far you could walk on the Sabbath day. It was called a Sabbath day journey. You can only go this far on the Sabbath day. And they had just all sorts of nonsensical, in a sense, rules to prevent someone from doing the dastardly deed of breaking the Sabbath. But they didn't understand what that really meant. The message from God to me: use love and Scripture to determine such things. Not man-made rules and societal norms. We've had lots of trouble over the years with societal norms as well. The thought that, one time there was a huge debate as to whether the piano should be allowed in the churches, because it was mainly thought of as being the instrument that was in bars. That was a societal norm. It normally was in bars, so bringing it into the church somehow polluted the church. A societal norm. God didn't say anything about pro or against pianos. In fact, the instruments that he mentions aren't even, for the most part, ones that people often play today. So there would be no music at all if we didn't reach it. I mean, but the ridiculous one is that the organ had been used in the church for forever. Well, not forever, but for since medieval times, the organ was part of the church repertoire. But the piano, which is nothing but a more compact, less flexible musical instrument, which many more people can play, was being banned. Silly. My personal response to all this: Lord, please remind me that love, mercy, and forgiveness should guide my judgments of the behavior of others. Lead me to pray rather than anger and be offended. So that completes today's lesson, and we'll see you tomorrow.